Welcome to the American Valor Podcast. Today we are speaking with Ryan Lavarnway. Ryan is the owner of Turn Left LLC, where he is a keynote speaker and motivational speaker, a former MLB player, World Series champion, and Olympian. Ryan, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you.
Enrique, hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today and talk about American Valor and Bob Feller and his legacy.
Outstanding. Now, folks, we are so happy to have, and as you all know, we have Major League Baseball players. We also have servicemen and women on our show. And at the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation, we strive to educate, support, and recognize by instilling the timeless values of service, sacrifice, legacy, and citizenship. Now, Ryan, based on the pillars mentioned, I would like to start today's conversation with sacrifice. And I know we make many sacrifices in life, but MLB players make a lot of sacrifices as well. So during your career, there must have been moments when you made personal sacrifices that were necessary for the success of the team. So, how did you balance those sacrifices with your personal goals? And what lessons can you share about prioritizing the greater good?
Oh man, so my career is probably a greater illustration of making personal sacrifices than most as far as baseball careers go. Because I played for 15 years, I had parts of 10 years in the big leagues, but I didn't make tens of millions of dollars like other people do. And anybody that plays in the big leagues for 10 years typically makes life-changing generational wealth type of income. I didn't make that kind of income, and the reason is because I was up and down and up and down and released and traded and back in the minors and called back up and back in the minors. So I got sent down or fired from my dream job 26 different times. And because of that, because I was traded and released and sent down and all of those things, my wife and I ended up moving where we were living 56 times in 12 years. So think about if you've ever moved your home, and they say that that's one of the top five most stressful experiences of someone's life. Well, I had to sacrifice a lot to move across the country. My wife certainly sacrificed a ton to be with me, to break the leases. She was the one that handled most of the logistics, the finding the lease, the energy, the water, the internet bill, the getting our car and all of our stuff and shipping anything that didn't fit in the car and our dog. And then once we had our daughter, when she was 9 days old, I got traded again. And, my wife is still recovering from the birthing process and breastfeeding and handling this newborn life. And I have to go and travel to the next team. So we sacrificed a lot, and it was for my career. It was for my dream and to chase this thing called baseball that I wanted to be since I was 5 years old. So those are the obvious sacrifices, right? My family, my wife, moving, but then I also, all my friends. I wasn't able to attend any of their weddings, any of their birthday parties, any of their bachelor parties, anybody that had a baby. I wasn't able to go and celebrate with them because baseball took priority for 15 years of my life. And I'm so grateful to all of my friends and family for the sacrifices they made to travel to small towns and all up and down the East Coast most of the time, or in Middle America, to support me and to be with me and to allow me to chase that dream.
That's amazing because as you're detailing that journey, it's like a military person where now we have a 3 year gap. So we're even less of a sacrifice when we talk about that. But I remember 13 moves, but it's one of those things that for the sake of a dream, right? For the sake of a dream and a hope and something that you are just so passionate about. So thank you for sharing that. Definitely great sacrifices, and mainly some unsung heroes like the wives and the children and the family members that go through that sacrifice along with us. So God bless them all for everything they do. Now, talking about service, Many athletes use their platform to serve their communities in meaningful ways. How did you approach service during and after your career, and what inspired you to give back?
Well, that was something I didn't fully understand until I played for the Pirates in 2018. So I was 31 at the time when I finally started to understand this. And the Pirates, we talk about this is the Bob Feller Foundation. The Pirates honor Roberto Clemente's legacy, who is a giant in the form of just being a good human being and making the world a better place. So when I was with the Pirates, I learned that they encourage community service for whatever team you're playing for. Get involved in the local community. And I spent a lot of that year in AAA Indianapolis, and I ended up doing over 100 hours of community service during that season. While I was playing games at night, I would go to the Children's Hospital in the morning, or I would volunteer for Habitat for Humanity in the morning before I then went to the field. And that process ended up helping me become a man that I'm proud to be. They call it the Pirates Community Commitment Program, because we're committed to the communities that we're in. And I ended up getting the Pirates Community Commitment Program award for most hours given away or donated, whatever. But it more than the glass sculpture that they gave me, I felt like it helped me. It helped me understand what kind of role model I was, whether I realized it or not, and how I could put on my uniform and go into a hospital, and a family that just got a cancer diagnosis could feel comfortable crying on my shoulder, and that I can have an impact. And the nurses saying like they hadn't been able to cry yet. Like I knew it wasn't me, right? I knew it wasn't because I'm special, but the uniform had power, and I was the vessel wearing the uniform. So understanding that you make a difference and you have an impact, and making sure that you use that for good and that you understand the responsibility, was something that, stepping into that role and giving my time and understanding that really helped me grow into the man that I wanted to be.
Yeah, beautiful story, very touching, especially when you go to those that are in a very big crisis, such as, dealing with cancer and being that sense of hope. And I love that a team has focused on one of their branches to be a giving back, because we often don't see the power that that has as a person of influence to come back and give to folks that we may never see again, but it's life changing. I was fortunate in my service to be awarded the bronze, silver, and gold medal from the president on volunteering, but the military does the same. They encourage you to get into the community you in and to infuse it with light. And obvious that you did that. So thank you for what you did. And you mentioned legacy, the legacy of Roberto Clemente, the legacy of Bob Feller. As a former Major League Baseball player, your achievements are etched in history, believe it or not. How do you hope your legacy is remembered both on and off the field?
That's something that, again, as I've gotten older, it's come a little bit more clear to me. For the longest time, my number one goal was to be the best baseball player I could be, right? Win the World Series, compete in the Olympics, amazing, right? Break some records along the way, amazing. I wanted originally people to remember me as a great baseball player. And as I've grown and as I've come to terms with the fact that I was a very, very good baseball player, but I was not a Hall of Fame baseball player. I was not a Major League All Star. I never won a Gold Glove. I never won a Silver Slugger Award. I've come to terms with that, and I'm proud with what I was able to do. I think it's more important to show the resiliency. I hope people can look at me as an example of someone that overachieved and shows them what is possible, because I had so many physical limitations, right? I'm a very slow runner as far as foot speed. My throwing arm is very average. My defense was always below average. Um, every coach that I've ever had would tell you how unlikely it was that I accomplished what I was able to within the sport. And now that I'm beyond the sport on the other side of it, I want to show people that I was able to accomplish those things only because of willpower and work ethic. And if you have that kind of willpower and work ethic in your own life, you can accomplish anything you want to also.
And that's very powerful for those listening, common day citizens that are trying to make it out there, right? On their playing field, for lack of better words. And it's important to know that there are items, there are little things that make us great in our own right. Work ethic, very foundational thing, but one that makes and breaks people, right? The ability to overcome obstacles that we see every day, and so as we're speaking about citizens and the two things that they can do to stand out, citizenship is one of the things and one of the pillars that we have. So, in your view, what role do professional athletes play in shaping positive citizenship? And how have you embraced that responsibility?
I think being a good citizen of the world is everybody's responsibility. And that was never as heightened as it was in 2013 in Boston after the Boston bombings. And as a team, we just immediately knew it wasn't even something we had to talk about. We all knew how important it was to serve as the hope for the city, to serve as the distraction, as the sense of normalcy after tragedy. So when we were just playing baseball, we were giving people something that they needed in that time. And in that way, we were citizens, but we were being extra citizens for the rest of the city. And I don't know that I'm saying that correctly, but just doing what you do to the best of your ability as a good citizen has power. And another example of that is when I represented Israel in the World Baseball Classic and the Olympics. The first time we went to Israel as a team, a 28-man roster of 26 people that were born and raised in America and had established citizenship very recently, they said, "Who are you to represent us?" They pushed back. They didn't want foreigners coming, taking their name and using the legal loophole of establishing citizenship and getting a passport through the drive-through lane to represent them. It took us giving back to that community, coaching the local kids, coaching the local coaches to start growing the game, donating our prize money back to build new fields in that country, being good citizens, answering media requests from other countries in the right way. It took commitment to their community to be able to be accepted as one of them. And that's part of being a good citizen.
Absolutely. And that's so powerful. I'm from Puerto Rico, and they're not too keen in even Puerto Ricans being born outside of Puerto Rico coming back, right? To go represent them. So I could see that play out. But what the beauty of that story is that, hey, there was work to be done
Yeah.
in order for this to happen, and you guys took the task on and you did what was necessary, and that is the true model of a citizen, a person that sees a task that needs to be done and does it for the better of the country. And I believe, although sometimes it's sad that it has to be some type of tragedy to kind of ignite that, but it's ignited because it's there. And I believe everybody living in the United States has a sense of citizenship, maybe misguided at times by media or what may be, but it's there. And this is the time for our citizens to wake up and answer the call of, hey, it's time to get the hands dirty and get in here and do some work. So I'm glad that you had the opportunity to do that, and a call on all citizens to ignite that within themselves. Now, where can our audience learn more about you and how to support you?
I am very easy to find. Ryan Lavarnway is not a common name, so you can find me on LinkedIn at R Lavarnway. I'm on Instagram at R Lavarnway. My website is ryanlavarnway.com, and I answer all my own messages. So I'd love to hear from your audience. I My main pursuit right now is keynote and motivational speaking, and my goal is to make a positive impact on as many people and teams as possible and help them reach their full potential.
Well, folks, I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I have. Thank you, Ryan, for taking the time to be with the American Valor Podcast. Now, folks, if you want more information about the Act of Valor, go to our website, actofvaloraward.org. And on behalf of the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation, thank you all for joining us on this episode.